First start off with Tata Motors. Profit nearly halved in the fourth quarter as the domestic sales slowdown added to the hurdles faced by JLR.
Tata Motors, that's the top loser on the Nifty after the JLR CEO resigned.
Is looking at options for Jaguar Land Rover. It just had to write down the value of Jaguar Land Rover by about $4 billion, so it's clearly struggling.
My friends sort of distance themselves from me by saying, what are you going to do with this? Refrain changed from what are you going to do with this to, how stupid could you be to buy this?
Tata Motors is now the most valuable car company in India by market capitalization after 7 years. Well, we are not in any way demeaning Maruti as it is in its league of its own with 40% market share in passenger vehicles versus Tata just 15. But we want to know why there is certain excitement regarding Tata Motors. Hey everyone, this is Aditya and you're watching MVFI. Tata has been doing a lot apparently, especially in EV with a market share of 72% followed by MG and Mahindra. And that is brilliant, but not the reason for this growth. Apparently the reason is British. Yes, we are talking about Jaguar Land Rover. And best way to describe the whole scenario would be a roller coaster. The entire entity that seems to be pumping profits now was once presumed to be a breeding cancer. In fact, the cost to cut off JLR has been so common since 2018. So the question arises, what had made JLR such a bad investment for Tata and what steps Tata took to turn it around? Well, it almost started when most of the things ended in 2008. A financial crisis struck the world, a recession seemed to be knocking and companies were on their knees, including JLR. Pretty weird time talking about a takeover, but that's what Tata did. And do not think for a second that this was just a fluke. Timing of it, although questionable, however, couldn't be predicted. In 2007, Mr. Ratan Tata and Ravikant took the trip to the USA, the biggest market for vehicles, to gauge the UK company. Surprisingly, in spite of dismal performance, dealers still had faith in the brand. Post-acquisition was no cakewalk either, as it founded itself in a debt of 219,000 crore rupees. Not so good for a debt-free company until that point. Plus, the newly acquired JLR was not adjusting well to a point that it was hoping for a bailout from the UK government. Well, they needed cash fast, so Tata started selling their own non-core investment plus more equity for a cash. They also hired some top minds from BMW and slashed their staff to 40%. Brutal but classic business trick. Well, it worked, and when the market recovered, JLR was ready and they leapt ahead to double-digit growth. Annual profits were the envy of the industry, and they were happy ever after. Not really, not in business. And don't forget the roller coaster. They fixed the home, but the world was changing while they were at it. Volkswagen emission scandal suddenly brought into attention polluting diesel vehicles. Results? EU tightened the leash by higher taxes on diesel vehicles, a knocking left hook for the diesel-dominant car company. Then the Brexit, which turned the pound into penny, so imports become expensive and hard. If that was not enough, JLR was also crumbling from the inside too. You see, during the good times, the success convinced them to expand quickly into China, Slovakia and Brazil, hopefully to ride on two waves: global demand for off-road models and China's fast rising car market. So in short, they were buying into the parent company mentality of mass production. For companies like Jaguar and Land Rover, they serve the upper premium mass produced segment, meaning they serve somewhere between exclusives like Rolls-Royce and mass premium like Mercedes. So quality and exclusivity are important, and they use joint ventures with local companies to cut down on the cost. As a result, quality went for a toss. Even after having such a brand equity, Chinese customer didn't want a JLR anymore. Another issue was to use too many platforms. Number platform, we mean the skeleton will be the same. However, further upgradations can be done on that skeleton. Like for example, Volkswagen Golf share its platform with Audi A3, Skoda Octavia and Seat Leon. Core components like chassis, floor plan and suspension are similar, but body panel, interior design and feature differ. This modern sharing of platforms saves huge cost between models, but JLR stuck to traditional methods of using multiple platforms. But one mistake that was really a final nail in the coffin, especially after multiple setbacks like Brexit, China, and everything we discussed, was investing in its own range of not just 4-cylinder but also 6-cylinder engines. Just when the rise of EV can be seen and powertrain differentiation like 4, 6, 8-cylinder won't make any difference and practically have no future. Tata Motors and JLR had just time for one gasp before they went underwater permanently. Well, they finally understood and decided to step back, and boy, they were at the right time. They have to swallow a bitter pill of not following maximum sales. Every unnecessary expansion they did was to chase a dream number of 1 million car sales annually. They decided to expand on the cars that were actually good and play on better margins and scrap cheap Range Rovers like Ecoa and Discovery Sports. This helped because in spite of all the slowdowns in the world, the rich were not shying away from spending. In fact, the sales of luxury goods went up in the downtime. They secured a partnership with BMW on engines and electric powertrains. They also pinned the company's model strategy on one platform with the flexibility to accept any powertrain. The new metric was average selling price or ASP instead of blatant sales, which by the way went up from average of 50,000 to 70,000 euros. So now even though JLR is selling fewer cars of 400,000 units a year as compared to its peak of 600,000 units, revenues and profit margins are much better. That's all for today. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to MBA Fight for more interesting content and see you soon.